Welcome to Viewpoints. I'm Stan Sapinski, and I have with me Dr. Jim Ramsay, who is the coordinator of Homeland Security programs at Embry-Riddle University in Daytona, Florida. Jim, welcome.
Good morning, Stan. Thanks for having me.
Jim, you have a very reputable Homeland Security program at Embry-Riddle. Can you tell us a little something about it?
Thank you. It's brand new and it's incredibly exciting. As you know, Homeland Security is an emergent academic profession, and we stood the program up 2 years ago with a rough format of a curriculum, really wondering what it is the program outcomes need to be for someone educated with a bachelor's in Homeland Security. And it's been very exciting to sort of draw students into the profession through academic preparation at our university. Though it's been challenging when parents ask you, what is it my son or daughter may do and what are they going to earn?
So how many students do you have in the program? You say it's been around for 2 years.
2 years now, correct. We've now got, as of this last week, about 112 declared majors. We have almost 60 minors. And the students taking Homeland Security courses that sit in Homeland Security course seats number generally, I think, around 380 at this point. So it's really grown, and that's up from 0 2 years ago, about 4 semesters ago.
That's pretty impressive, actually. That makes it probably one of the larger programs in the country is at that level, at that degree level.
Yes, at the bachelor's degree, I would say that is probably correct. The challenge has been, of course, staffing and keeping up with the demand. People are coming to the program because they hear the title. They're not exactly sure what the title is going to mean for them professionally, but it sounds exciting. The students have done a lot of word-of-mouth transition, so we've not done much advertising, nor do we really have a formal entering class yet. They've all, as I kind of tell my colleagues, they're all thefts from other programs at this point.
Well, what exactly do you tell those parents as far as the type of a job that they can get when they graduate from the program?
Great question. At the end of the day, academic preparation, especially at the bachelor's level, is about entering the job market. We have a large ROTC program, and those folks have essentially sorted themselves out. They're going from academia at the bachelor's level right into the military, one of the services. We have lots of Coast Guard folks, obviously lots of Air Force folks. Embry-Riddle is a very well-known, established aeronautical engineering university. We have a few folks from the Marines and a few folks from the Army. Essentially, a lot of those guys already know what they would like to do. It's everything else, really. We have a large interest in emergency management. We have folks interested in going to law school. We have folks interested going into public policy. What I tell the parents is, if your son or daughter is an introvert or extrovert, there's a wonderful opportunity for them somewhere in HS. If they like working with people versus not with people, there's a great opportunity for them. If they want to be a pilot or not, that's fine. It almost sounds like I'm pandering a little bit, but realize that the professional scope of Homeland Security is inherently so broad that the applications of an HS education are virtually limitless, as is the upward mobility over time. An entry-level position in HS could easily and clearly lead to many other positions and subsequent graduate education. Law is a wonderful example. You can go into Homeland Security as a bachelor's degree as a pre-law preparation, a pre-public policy education. EM, emergency management, has a lot of graduate options out there. And the fields are all aging. So whatever the son or daughter ends up doing, it's a wonderful and solid preparation. And on top of that, most parents don't really know weird things like academics know. For instance, the statistics surrounding what does an undergraduate do 6, 7, 10 years out? Well, by the time they're 35, most of them will have 6 or 7 job descriptions anyway, regardless of your undergraduate preparation.
Sure.
And if you look at the connectedness of HS expressions professionally, you'll find you can go from emergency management into management. You can go from emergency management into policy. You can go from Homeland Security into law school. You can go from the CIA or the FBI as field operatives into management or analysis positions. There's just almost an unending stream of expressions.
To go. Sure. Now, would you say that a higher percentage of your graduates go on to get a graduate degree then?
Well, that's a good call, and I don't really have exact stats yet. We've not been able to track many students. What I can say is my first 2 graduates had job offers 2 months before they graduated, one in aviation security and one in Customs and Border Patrol. Wildly different expressions, but at the same time, you can see a common thread behind the preparation. Right now, we push a lot of the students directly into the marketplace because they seem to want to do that rather than more school.
Sure.
Students
Sure.
at the end of an undergraduate, not a lot of them think, oh, that's what I want to do. I want to graduate and go to more school, especially something more intense.
Right.
And my personal bias as an instructor is I would like my students to be a little bit more seasoned, a little bit more hardened by the marketplace, whether that's the military, the government, or the private sector, prior to going to graduate school, so that they have a more solid basis and can more intensely and deeply appreciate graduate preparation.
Right. Well, you know, you mentioned all these different areas that they can go into. This is a tough field to kind of get your arms around. What process did you use to determine what courses were going to be in your program?
Oh, brilliant question, because what a lot of academic entities do is they look to an accrediting body, a professional association that is designed to accredit the core intellectual knowledge set that comprises a field. Well, as you know, Homeland Security doesn't really have one yet. I know that they're making one, and HSDEC is a wonderful platform from which HSDECA, the association, is springboarding an accrediting body.
Now,
Well,
HSDEC, you mean the Homeland Security and Defense Education Consortium?
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
Thank you. The situation I found myself in when I was hired was I was quite literally handed a piece of paper which said, here's the curriculum thumbnail sketch that we approved. Go make it work. And Stan, to be honest, I had a series of course titles. I had no syllabi. I did not really have any kind of marching orders as to what this meant. So what my colleagues and I decided to do was to take a step back, and I've got a lot of experience accrediting programs through ABET, which is the Accrediting Board for Engineering and Technology, and I'm a big fan of an outcomes-based education. We developed a national expert panel, and we used a Delphi process, which is an iterative consensus building process that we performed online. And once we obtained a panel that agreed to serve with us, we created a series of instruments that they iteratively looked at until consensus was derived. And we had our panel of practicing experts that included everything from SES level folks in DC to generals to well-known academics in a variety of fields, to industry folks, EM folks, and we tried to accommodate the breadth of HS as a professional field with experts that are practicing in each of those areas. And what we have found over 14 months is they have helped us determine not only our educational objectives, and those are the statements that we'd like to see our graduates be able to do and be around 5-10 years after graduation. In other words, they're kind of an end stage of sorts of a trajectory. They're not what they really look at when they're graduating, but 10 years out kind of a thing. And from there we went into what are core academic areas. So we helped them, our committee helped us define a core academic area, say terrorism studies, emergency management, risk analysis, environmental security, as not only just the definition. We had consensus on the definitional title of the core area, but also the definition. Once we established the core areas, we established program level outcomes. Overarching for the entire degree, things that our students should be able to know, understand, and to do, and to think about, kind of the knowledge, skills, and behaviors that you see in other venues. But not just overarching outcomes, but outcomes within each core area.
No kidding.
So we have a very robust and vetted set of program level outcomes through the eyes of these practicing experts that represent a variety of fields.
Well, I think you described it well. It sounds like a very robust process that you used, and I think this is something that certainly our other university partners could use. Let me ask you just one more question, and that is, you spent the last couple of days here in Monterey with the University and Agency Partnership Initiative Conference. Did you find that to be of value? Will that support your effort?
Oh, I have to say that the University and Agency Partnership Initiative is absolutely spectacular. First of all, anyone that's in the field understands how hard it is to get out of your field and actually make the structural and social connections that are incredibly essential to building a robust program. If your program is hovering on the edge of a knife blade because it's the expression of just what you know and just what you can do, you're not cutting it. You're operationalizing. If you look at this as a Venn diagram, you're talking about a 5% sliver. You have 95% of life in general that you haven't really tapped into. So let me just start by saying it's brilliant because of the social network, and we already have connections for scholarship, connections for teaching materials, syllabi. Secondly, I think that, and we're going to find those invaluable because we have yet to breathe life into our new structure. Secondly, it was just absolutely fun to have a high-level intellectual conversation about things that you don't take the time to do back home.
Right.
For instance, what should be an operational definition of Homeland Security from a policy perspective, from an academic teaching perspective? You know, we're not SES level folks in Washington advising the president directly. On the other hand, we're on the very bleeding edge of turning out the practitioners that Washington is going to need to establish. So in that
Absolutely.
sense, if we turn out X and everyone's asking for Y, our program fails and we've done a disservice. If we turn out X and we do it robustly and professionally, and the country is asking for X, we've now done our country an enormous service.
Sure.
And that's the inherent greatness. UAPI, they really, that and the whole Center for Homeland Defense and Security are incredible resources because they consolidate people, material, knowledge, and interactions.
Great. Well, thank you very much. Thank you for being here, and good luck with the future of your program.
Thank you very much, Stan, and thank you again for all the work you do on the center.
Thanks.